In sum, the Yoruba political leadership, as mentioned by Balarabe Musa, has shown itself over the years to be incapable of rising above narrow tribal interests and reciprocating goodwill from other sections of the country by treating other groups with respect. Practically every crisis in Nigeria since independence has its roots in this attitude. The Yoruba elite and area boy politics, Igbo marginalization and the responsible limits of retribution, and the Yoruba factor and area boy politics. Many views on the Yoruba political leadership have been thoroughly articulated in some of my writings, prime among which was Afenifere Syllabus of Errors, published by This Day, the Sunday newspaper, on September 27th, 1998. There was also an earlier publication in the Weekly Trust entitled The Igbo, the Yoruba and History, August 21st, 1998. In sum, the Yoruba political leadership, as mentioned by Balarabe Musa, has shown itself over the years to be incapable of rising above narrow tribal interests and reciprocating goodwill from other sections of the country by treating other groups with respect. Practically every crisis in Nigeria since independence has its roots in this attitude. The Yoruba elite were the first in 1962 to attempt a violent overthrow of an elected government in this country. In 1966, it was the violence in the West which provided an avenue for the push of 15th January. After Chief Awolowo lost to Shagari in 1983 elections, it was the discontent and bad publicity in the Southwest which led to the Buhari intervention. When Buhari jailed UPN governors like Ige and Onabanjo, the Southwest press castigated that good government and provided the right mood for IBB to take over power. As soon as IBB cleared UPN governors of charges against them in politically motivated retrial, he became the darling of the Southwest. When IBB annulled the primaries in which Adamu Siroma and Shehu Yaradua emerged as presidential candidates in the NRC and SDP, he was hailed by the Southwest. When the same man annulled the June 12, 1993 election in which Abiola was the front runner, the Southwest now became defenders of democracy. When it seems Sani Abacha was sympathetic to Abiola, the Southwest supported his takeover. He was in fact invited by a prominent NADECO member to take over in a published letter shortly before the event. Even though Abiola had won the elections in the North was blamed for its annulment. When Abdulsalam Abubakar started his transition, the Yoruba political leadership through NADECO presented a memorandum on a government of national unity that showed complete disrespect for the intelligence and liberties of other Nigerians. Subsequently, they formed a tribal party which failed to meet minimum requirements for registration but was registered all the same to avoid the violence that was bound to follow non-registration, given the area boy mentality of Southwest politicians. Having rejected an Obasanjo candidacy and challenged the election as a fraud in court, we now find a leading member of the AD in the government, a daughter of an Afenifere leader as Minister of State, and Awolowo's daughter as ambassador, all appointed by a man who won the election through fraud. Meanwhile, nothing has been negotiated for the children of Abiola, the focus of Yoruba political activity. In return for these favors, the AD solidly voted for Ivan Ewerem as Senate president. This is a man who participated in the 2 million march for Abacha's self-succession. He also is reputed to have hosted a meeting of governors during IBB's transition, demanding that June 12 elections should never be de-annulled and threatening that the West would go to war if this was done. When Ibrahim Salusi Buhari was accused of swearing to a false affidavit, the Yoruba political elite correctly took up the gullet for his resignation. When an AD governor, Bola Tinubu, swears to a false affidavit that he attended an Ivy League university, which he did not attend, we hear excuses. For so many years, the Yoruba have inundated this country with stories of being marginalized and of a civil service dominated by northerners through quota system. The Federal Character Commission has recently released a report which shows that the Southwest accounts of 27.8% of civil servants in range GL08 to GL14 and a full 29.5% of GL15 and above, grade level 15 and above. One zone out of 6 zones controls a full 30% of the civil service, leaving the other 5 zones to share the remaining 70%. We find the same story in the economy, in academia, in parastatals. Yet, in spite of being so dominant, the Yoruba complained of marginalization. Of recent, in recognition of the trauma which hit the Southwest after June 12, the rest of the country forced everyone out of the race to ensure that a Southwesterner emerged, often against the best advice of political activists. Instead of leading a path of reconciliation and strong appreciation, the Yoruba have embarked on short-sighted triumphalism, threatening other nationalities that they, who after all lost the election, will protect Obasanjo, who was forced on them. No less a person than Bola Ige has made such utterances. To further show that they were in charge, they led a cult into the Hausa area of Shagamu, murdered a Hausa woman. Nothing happened. In the violence that followed, they killed several Hausa residents, with Yoruba leaders like Segun Oshoba reminding Nigerians of the need to respect the culture of their host communities. This would have continued were if not for the people of Kano, who showed that they could also create their own Oro, who would only be appeased through the shedding of innocent Yoruba blood. I say all this to support Balarabe's Musa's statement that the greatest problem to nation building in Nigeria are the Yoruba Bugius. I say this also to underscore my point that until they change this attitude, no conference can solve the problems of Nigeria. We cannot move forward if the leadership of one of the largest ethnic groups continues to operate not like statesmen but like common area boys. The Igbo factor and reasonable limits of retribution. The Igbo people of Nigeria have made a mark in the history of this nation. They led the first successful military coup, which eliminated the military and political leaders of other regions while letting off Igbo leaders. Nwafọ Orizu, then Senate President, in constitution with President Azikiwe, subverted the constitution and handed over power to Agboirosi. Subsequent developments, including attempts at humiliating other people, led to the counter-coup and later the civil war. The Igbo themselves must acknowledge that they have a large part of the blame for shattering the unity of this country. Having said that, this nation must realize that Igbos have more than paid for their foolishness. They have been defeated in war, rendered paupers by monetary policy fiat, their properties declared abandoned and confiscated, kept out of strategic public sector appointments and deprived of public services. The rest of the country forced them to remain in Nigeria and has continued to deny them equity. The Northern Bojusi and the Yoruba Bojusi have conspired to keep the Igbo out of the scheme of things. In the recent transition, when the Igbo suddenly supported the PDP in the hope of an Ekwueme presidency, the North and South West treated this as a Biafra agenda. Every rule set for the primaries, every gentleman's agreement was set aside to ensure that Obasanjo, not Ekwueme, emerged as the candidate. Things went as far as getting the federal government to hurriedly gazette a pardon. Now, with this government, the marginalization of the Igbo is more complete than ever before. The Igbos have taken all this quietly because the reason they brought it upon themselves, but the nation is sitting on a time bomb. After the First World War, the victors treated Germany with the same contempt Nigeria is treating Igbos. 2 decades later, there was a Second World War, costlier, far costlier than the first. Germany was again defeated, but this time they won a more honorable peace. Our present political leaders have no sense of history. There is a new Igbo man who was not born in 1966 and neither knows nor cares about Nzogu and Ojukwu. They are Igbo men on the streets who were never Biafrans. They were born Nigerians and Nigerians, but suffer because of actions of earlier generations. They will soon decide that it is better to fight their own war and maybe find an honorable peace than to remain in this contemptible state in perpetuity. The Northern Bogos and the Yoruba Bogios have exacted their pound of flesh from the Igbos. For one Saudana, one Tafawa Balewa, one Akitola and one Okotebo, hundreds of thousands have died and suffered. If this issue is not addressed immediately, no conference will solve Nigeria's problems. By SANUSI LAMIDO. If this issue is not addressed immediately, no conference will solve Nigeria's problem. By SANUSI LAMIDO. This is food for thoughts. Oh my goodness. So, in my opinion, guys, I think I still want to go with this particular man, Mohammed Shehu, who said the only thing that will solve the problem of Nigeria is for everybody to go their different ways. Because from all indications, nobody wants to submit to another. And that is where we are having problem. And some people will be forming team with others so that they will get what they want. For how long are we going to continue like that? In a nutshell, the only thing that will solve this whole problem is just for everybody to go their separate ways because we are not compatible. They've tried all manner of things just for us to be together, but it's not working. Some people will still go behind and be planning some other things. The best thing, and just like the man said, is just the best way. But no matter how they try to force themselves together, that okay, this one Nigeria, because it's not working. It's not working. When you have 3 friends, honestly speaking, 2 will be closer than the remaining one, and it will not all go away, or someone will be playing the 2. That is just the way it is, because there will be no equal love, there will be no equal rights. Everybody will just be trying to, I want to be there, I want to be at the top. But the best is just for everybody to go their separate way, and that's where we have peace. If we continue like this, the country will not move forward. It will not move forward. Someone says above analysis is nothing but fiction. Someone say you saw a vision, my brother. This time the war will be on all Nigeria soil, not only on Igbo soil. Hausas are the problem of this country. They don't have sense of leadership and they always want to force themselves there. Someone says the reason for your dethronement is obvious. That one is still referring to Sanusi. I do not understand or get anything useful in this write-up. We have to go to history and remind ourselves what happened before and after independence of Nigeria. We are able to know through history that certain ethnic group in Nigeria supported the government of colonial masters, and among the ethnic groups that fought fervently for the independence in Nigeria, Yoruba is number 1, no question about that. Shortly after the independence, this ethnic group became irrelevant. In short, the ethnic group that supported the rulership of the colonial masters occupied everywhere. These developments happen to be only noticeable factor that hinders the development of the country today. This ethnic group, after tasting power, he wanted the power to remain with him forever. Nepotism and favoritism was put in place. This cut across religions and other aspects of life. We need to know that anybody that says Yoruba is the problem of Nigeria, the fellow is an ingrate and he has not studied history. All of these things are long stories. If we continue, because there's no love, there will be no equal love. The only solution is what that man suggested, and that is the path the Biafrans have been taking. Because, it's like in some places, this man was trying to speak in parables. I mean, Sanusi. But we are just deceiving ourselves. And we will be better friends if everybody just go their separate way. Just go your separate way. We can be neighbors and, and life will move on. But with this arrangement we have on ground, nothing. Those who will see be working just for this kind of the system to continue, they are the ones that will be benefiting maybe personally, but for as a nation, for everybody to be incorporated and enjoy the dividends of being together, it's not going to come. So guys, let's have your take. Leave your comments below in the comment section, based on what Sanusi has said, and he's been able to say, he said a lot of things saying that Yorubas are the problem with Nigeria. Leave your comments and let's